Hey guys, how's it going? Mark Gaviglio, Plains People Podcast. This will be episode 5, coming out on July 15th. This is a podcast where I sit in my basement with people from around the Fargo North Dakota area and talk about their lives. It's my nice little collection of stories and life stories, and you can peek in and listen to them. The person I'm talking to today is Luke Safely. He's been part of the art scene and the very underground, if you can call noise, music scene, the very underground music scene. And also he's a mailman. You might remember him from being in the news, I'd like to say a year, maybe 2 years ago, when he called out a person for being a white nationalist named Pete Teft. Both of them kind of got a little bit of a local attention from that. So, yeah, here he is, Luke Safely. I don't need to hype up this conversation any because it gets good fast. I love this conversation. I've known Luke for years and years, and this is probably my favorite talk I've had on this podcast yet. It's probably not the most productive talk, but I think it's the most fun talk. Okay, here we go. Luke Safely, episode 5, boom. You look like the lead singer of Man.
No. Maybe a little.
I kind of do. I don't think you're as talented as he is.
The weirdest one is I had this lady who works at Cashwise. I'd go pick up mail there all the time, and she'd like, "How's it going, David Grohl?" And it's like, I don't look like fucking David Grohl.
No, you do not look like David Grohl. You do not look
Zero Grohl.
Oh, man.
And then she was just like, "You like Nirvana?" And it's just like, "Yeah, they're okay." And she's just like, "Oh, they're the best. They're the best." And it's just like, "Yeah, they're gone."
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you listen to the same 3 albums over and over and over again.
I think you look more like Chris Novoselic.
Chris Novoselic.
The bassist.
Oh, the bassist. Yeah. I think
he's taller.
I think I look like if you took Pedro and Napoleon Dynamite from the same movie and just slammed them together. If they somehow had like
100% the personality of Napoleon. Actually, no, you got a little bit of Pedro in there too.
Yeah, it's just you just slam them together like a weird man child, and then you get the lead vocalist of Man in there.
Yeah, his mustache.
Yeah,
and that's about it. His horrible style. No offense.
Just.
All right. Anyways,
can I get everybody to shut off their phones?
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm silent.
Okay.
I am not.
I'm always silent. I'm on Do Not Disturb, motherfucker. And I don't even know where my phone is. Oh, I plugged it in. It's sitting right here. Fucking Billy.
Like 30 seconds ago.
Where's my beer? Not a very smart man, okay? I'm not as on as you non-drinking vegan people. I got all these toxins weighing
I know,
my
you
head
had to
down.
filter the alcohol out of the water for us. That's how we're able to enjoy water.
Get all that pesky food out of there, or beer out of there. So it's kind of food.
Yeah.
Beer food?
I'd rather die than say booze ain't food.
Are we good? How are we on? Should we back up? Should Luke shut the fuck up a little? No, we're good. Okay.
All right, let's both talk at the same time, even though that probably is not supposed to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Shut the fuck up.
I know you're gonna be a little louder than me, but you're a little further away.
I do that on purpose.
Yeah. Yep.
And if anything, I tend to calm down, and he tells me to get further, and then he's like, no, you got excited again. So yeah. Anyways, were you born in Mandan or just grew up in Mandan?
No, I was born in Williston, North Dakota.
Okay, that's the oily place, right?
Yeah, it used to be the coaly place, and then you just go through a bunch of shitty booms.
When I was greyhounding back and forth from Seattle to here when I was in school, we stopped in Williston in this like bar / diner / bowling alley, and it was like the most disgusting. A DJ from Chicago, who was also on the bus, got a fly not in his burger but inside the bun. Like when they were baking, when they were like rolling the bun, a fly must have landed and they just kept going. And they were like, "Screw it, it will dissolve."
Sesame seeds.
and they got so, and he just like, they were like, "Do you need another burger?" And he goes, "I'm not eating anything else from here." And then he tried to get his money back, and they said no. And he was just freaking out, and I was like, "Dude, I would be right there with you." And then afterwards, he's like, "Is this what people do in North Dakota?" I'm like, "No.
Yeah, no, that's what we do.
This is just horrible. This is let everyone."
You're supposed to just like Midwest passive nice it, just be like, "Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, I'll eat around it. I'll eat around it. Thanks.
But
Anyways.
I think my favorite thing about there, the only like real memory I have, is always going to Burger Queen.
Burger Queen?
Yeah, it was a knockoff of Burger King. It was like had a shitty yellow sign, and you just go there and you get like the fucking frozen cones, but the frozen cones were all fucked up. Yeah.
Can we pause? I want to go get another beer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to be able to
You
do
should
this.
just did a 6-pack right there.
Alright. I'm going to grab one else, at least another one. At least two.
You're gonna get really thirsty. It's gonna get really warm in here.
You should see how sweaty he's gonna get.
Oh man, I can imagine the smell. I can actually already smell the smell. I can taste it in the air. The caramelized onions.
He's just a
Billy,
big
if
sweaty
you get
man.
to this beer before I do, I won't get mad because it's the last one in the fridge.
Oh, that's fair.
Alright. Sorry, when I'm just sitting and talking, I do a lot of beering. Anyways, so when did you move from Williston to Mandan then? When you were like 2 years old?
Shit. We moved from Wilson to Bismarck. I was maybe like 8. And we lived in this like shitty apartment. Alright, my mom just recently reminded me of this. So in an apartment we had like a public school behind like there. And there was the janitor lived in like a little house thing attached to the school. And my mom's like, do you remember him? And it's just like, I kind of do. And it's just like, and his wife was really nice too. And it was just like, yeah, people thought it was kind of weird that you guys always had like a relationship. Like you go out and hang over there after school.
That is so Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, no. And then, like,
that is literally the
I think my mom was trying to say like, did he ever touch you? It's just like, I mean, if my mind repressed that, don't bring it up.
Yeah.
I know, like, it's repressed for a fucking reason. All I remember is going
Yeah.
over there and playing Sonic.
Can you just let the repressed memory stay, people? Can we please stop having therapists ruin our lives?
Yeah, and it's just like, let it be repressed if it did happen. All I remember is the good times. Let the Sonic roll. Gold rings for life. The wife was real nice. They had a dog.
We just thought you got scratched by a rake. We didn't know that was anything else. We just assumed
My
those
buddy
fingernails.
Travis was there. He hasn't mentioned anything. I haven't talked to him since, but you know, maybe he didn't go for it since there was 2 of us there at the same time.
Or maybe you just weren't like an
wasn't
interesting,
attractive
like an interesting enough kid to murder.
It was just like he was trying to pick up my friend Travis, but I got sucked in, and then Travis left, and he's like, not that one.
Oh,
I can't tell him to leave.
oh man, it'd be you're just too ugly of a kid. I'm
It's
sorry.
just too ugly of a kid. It's just like I can't do it, and the wife's just like, go on, just try. It's just like
I don't want to disappoint him now. He's
Just molest
he's
him
a really
little.
nice guy. I don't know how to let him go.
Oh, that's too good. Well, all right. So besides narrowly escaping a child murderer who comes back and dreams as a dream demon, or in whatever the hell he was in Craven's New Nightmare, what else did Williston? You got 0 other memories?
The only thing I
Just-
remember in Wilson is actually I went back when I was like 12 to visit like my first friend. My mom always tries to like remind me of that too. My first friend. His name's
And you're
Corey.
like,
And I mean, I'm
You're not
Facebook
even-
friends.
oh, I was just gonna
I'm-
say, you're
I'm-
Facebook
I'm
friends?
Facebook friends with him and whatnot, but like we have 0 contact. He lives in Montana now.
yeah.
And it's just like my mom's like, you guys are the best friends from like age 0 to 8, and it's just like
All the ones I don't remember? Great.
right there.
Like, that was 8 years of your life? That was, like, one memory of my life.
The only thing I remember is like his mom. So she babysat me like my whole life, pretty much,
Mhm.
from 0 to 8. So my whole life, I didn't really get babysit after that.
Yeah.
But I remember she had this thing where she's like, no waste. And she like, you go to the house and she make like the grossest fucking shit. Like it'd be like beef stroganoff, but it'd just be like ground beef and like cream of mushroom soup on top of rice. And then like no salt, no pepper, no nothing. And then she'd serve you like a fucking like family tray plate. And then like, you don't get to leave the table until you finish that.
Like,
So you'd sit.
can you at least make better food?
I'd be there and I'd sit there like, you know, I like eating food. I can eat a lot of food. And then I'd just sit there and just like, I'm not eating that. And I'll be there until like 9 p.m. just sitting in that chair waiting for my mom, arms crossed. And it's just like, Luke didn't eat his food again today. And it's just like, it's trash. It's fucking trash. I'm not going to touch that. It's disgusting. And then it's like,
Did you tell your mom, like, no, Mom, try this?
Yeah, well, it's like, she finished it at 6 p.m. That thing's fucking cold now, too. I ain't touching it. She's not going to renuke it either. She's like, I already cooked it for you once.
Can you just put some seasoning in this, you psycho? That's pretty good. The funny thing is, I probably moved to this area. I know you moved to Bismarck, but I moved from Brainerd. I grew up in Brainerd, and then moved over around the same time, 97, so I was about 8 years old. And I have almost the exact same memories of, like, a kid who I was really good friends with then and 0 contact. And then I tried to reach, and it hurt me so hard. Like, I think of him as, like, really good friend then. And then I tried to connect with him when I got on Facebook and, like, when I was in early, like, for probably first year of college. He had zero memory of me. And I was like, you went to, like, this school at this time, and you're from, like, Brainerd, Minnesota, and it's your name? He's like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and all that. And I was like, Mark, like, all the time. We hung out always. Like, I have really vivid memories of it. He's like, are you like the weird kid? I'm like, oh my God, no. I wanted to just like die. And then I brought that up to my sister, who was good friends with his sister, and she got like the same treatment. She's like, yeah, like his sister said that like she barely remembers me. And
just weird ghost phantom.
Yeah,
kids.
I guess. And the funny thing is that this isn't funny at all. The really messed up thing is because they had a super trauma thing. Like their mom died like right when we moved. So I guess they blank everything out before that. So they're like, yeah, you were in the before time. Back when I still had a mom. Yeah. So you know, I know I'm trying to compete with this guy's mom for the few memories he has. So it's not a big deal.
Just forget your mother and remember me.
Yeah, I mean, so what? I mean, I'm still here though.
Me.
I'm the mom that didn't leave you when she died. You know it.
I think it's the weird thing too. Is like it's not that like he remembers me and whatnot, and like once in a while we'll reach out to each other. But and my mom will remind me of him too. And then like he has this thing since he was like a young kid. His vision's been slowly disappearing. Like his corneas or something like that are shrinking.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of like that other reminder where it's just like my mom will be like, "Hey, like Corey's not doing that great. You should like reach out to him." And it's just like, yeah, that sucks. And it's just like it's hard to reach out to him even on Facebook because like he has a giant magnifying glass in front of his computer and stuff. Like you can barely see it. And then it's just like this constant reminder, like, am I just reaching out to him because my mom, like, I hear this inner voice in my like.
And also, the last thing you want is for him to notice.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my mom told me to do this again. You'd be like, fuck you.
And I mean, and like we have a lot of the same. Like he likes metal music. I don't mind metal music.
Yeah.
And like he's not like crazy Confederate flag waving dude.
He is?
No, he's not.
Oh,
No.
okay. I was like, yeah, sounds pretty far from you. Yeah. So you went to Bismarck first. I met you were you not living in Mandan when I met you?
When you met me, I moved to Mandan.
Okay,
I was
cool.
in Mandan already.
Or was it just already the Mandanians and then you were just like the random dude across the river?
You couldn't afford a house in Bismarck, so you went across the river to Mandan and got a trailer.
Yeah.
So
what year did we met? Was it junior year or senior year of high school when we met?
I think it's the end of your junior year.
Yeah, and then and a little bit through senior. Yeah.
So it was my sophomore year and the end of your junior year because I was one grade behind you.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was in one grade behind you.
Did you graduate a year early?
09.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I graduated 09.
Oh, jeez.
See, I had the weird thing. I was born in like a weird time of the year, so my mom put me in junior first grade. And then, like, I always thought that was weird, like, junior first grade. It's just like, it was just like an extra preschool that my mom had to cash out some more money for.
I was a very stupid child, so they threw me into anything that could take them, like me, right away. Like, I had Head Start, like, 2 years, and preschool, and then kindergarten. And, yeah, so, like, immediately they're like, this dude can't even talk. Like, somebody fix this child. And also, it was probably because, like, no one wanted to put up with me.
Like, just extremely hyperactive. And mom's like, just put him in the system.
Like when I hang out with my nephew now, and I'm like, dude, what's wrong with this kid? My mom's like, you were way worse. I'm like, whoa, fuck. Like not only could you not understand me, I was a million words a minute. So I was like, and then I'm like, how come no one's listening to me? They're like, what are you talking? So like an alien.
My mom was like a single mom, and she said I was just like the worst fucking little kid. There was like even an incident where like I hid in the fucking cupboard, and she was looking for me, and I didn't come out, and I stayed there for like 6 hours. And my mom was like panicking and like calling the neighbors and whatnot. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna get her so good. Well, she knew about the cupboard shit. She should have checked the cupboards first.
It's so horrible though. The worst thing, and this is probably on my mom more than me, the worst thing I ever did was I thought it was great to like threaten jumping off the roof because they had a window that went to the roof. And then I was able to like, there was, one little one that, is connected to the window from the second floor, but then you can crawl up the steep incline to get to the tippy top of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do that and I'd just sit up there as like my thinking spot. So the neighbor saw me and my mom made a super tasteless joke. Like, so she comes up and goes, "Mark, we don't have insurance, get down." And right at that, the cops were like dialing child protective service.
That wasn't a tasteless joke. That was just your mom being brutally honest.
Yeah, like, we can't fix that. So the whole time when she's doing that, and I wasn't like trying to hurt myself. I didn't know what suicide was. I was like, I'm gonna just jump and just die. It's gonna be great. And they're like, what is going on with this kid?
Do the dude.
Just like. I swear to God, if my brother yelled out "Surge," I would have did it. Like, we were just like "Surge," I would have just dived right out.
Head first, right into the fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
I had a climbing issue. We had an old house in Williston, and I guess I don't remember that much. We had a big tree in the backyard, and I climbed halfway up it, and I fucking fell down. And like I screwed my back. I still think it's messed up from it. But my stepdad still, until I was like 19, made the joke like, "You just hit every ugly, stupid fucking branch in the way of that tree." I watched the whole thing just. And then boom, we just got this ugly, stupid fucker.
That might explain a lot about you.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you're a lot of things. You're an ugly bastard.
Just an ugly, stupid fucker that hit
You're weird shaped. You were so weird shaped.
Like a pear.
I thought I had a fat ass. One of your butt cheeks is the size of one of mine already giant butts.
That was an awkward one too. I had one where so I'm a mailman, right? And then I was walking down the street, and I guess I look okay from behind. So this like
no, you look like a big lady.
Yeah, this 17-year-old kid yells out like, "Hey, mama," to me, and I turn around, and I got like a mustache, and he's like, "Oh, no, it's okay. Hey, mama," and it's just like he kept rolling with it.
No. He didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, no.
So he was like, "I call all the mailman's mama."
Yeah,
that's how I pronounce mail.
It's okay. It's just like face forward. Don't look back at all.
It'd be great if you just turn around like, "I'll be your new mama," and just watch his eyes get wide as he runs away.
I think he was okay with the mustache. I think he probably had a mother with a mustache, so we just accepted it.
Speaking of ugly, and you, remember when you worked at Walmart and you just, like, it felt like, I don't know if this was your gig, but when you were at Walmart, it seemed like you tried to be as hideous as possible. Oh. You grew out a mullet, and you had this horrible 18 or 19-year-old mustache that just didn't work.
Well, then the mullet.
I just remember talking to my friends at the time, like, what the heck is Luke doing? Does he want to get put on all the lists?
Yeah, no, it's
like,
fine.
you look horrible.
Because it's Walmart, they're totally acceptable. Because especially even the mullet advanced. So I went and got a haircut, and alright, this is how you get a good haircut. I went to Joseph's hair school, and I told my buddy, I ain't got money to pay you, dude, but I can get you a pack of Camel Lights. And it's just like, alright, I'll meet you in the parking lot. So he took his equipment from Joseph's, went in the parking lot.
The parking lot?
Of Joseph's, and cut my hair. And he cut
There's
my
$7.
I know. It was just Camel Lights 4.
Was it worth saving the $3?
Oh, easily. He transformed my mullet into a rat tail. Remember my rat tail? Yeah. So I had a sick rat tail at age 20.
All right. If we get to my next question, we'll skip ahead. So do we want to cover anything Mandan? How was Mandan? You had a lot of good friends from Mandan.
A lot of them live here or moved here.
Which was what I loved when I first went over there was a friend of mine who was, dating soon to be not soon, but eventually your lady, Jenny. So we were soon down there. It wasn't soon. No, you guys waited a long time, which is going to be my next question. Like, when did you finally break down her will to date you? But anyways, no, we'll get to that later. And she's way better looking than you are.
Okay. Way down my league.
Yeah,
I just
all around better person.
I know, and I told her recently, like, I had a nightmare where she left me, and then she was like, "Oh, I never do that." It's like, no, don't fucking kid me.
No, it would have been your dream. It was my nightmare. It was probably
your dream, and then it's just like, it was awful, and she's just like, no, I'd never do that, and it's just like, you don't. I'm watching.
Okay, we'll get to that, and I don't want to get too local so people can still actually. People who do not know me and you intimately can understand what we're talking about. So, what was Mandan like? So, is it a lot like Fargo when it comes to, like, teenagers have nothing to do there? Because that's what I kind of gathered.
I mean, there was shit. You had the river.
Okay, we never went to the river.
So you guys have the river, but you can't go in that river. You'll die in that river.
Yeah. But you guys had that in Missouri.
Yeah, and we had, the desert and stuff. Pretty much all you do is, the same thing here. You just get drunk, but then you go down the river and shoot guns.
Okay, yeah. See, I never had the river and shoot guns.
Yeah.
We would go near the river and just break stuff. And I was super punky in high school, and at least some of your friends were. Would you have considered yourself a punk in high school? If you look back?
Maybe 13-year-old me where I was just like, yeah, skateboarding the Ramones. And then I'm just like, nah, fuck the Sex Pistols. I'm going to Clash today, buddy.
I was Dead Kennedys at Iggy Pop when I even have a memory of like skating down a hill near Junker's house on a longboard, listening to The Passenger by Iggy Pop. Just like, if I died right now, I'd be okay with it.
Alright, so the people who don't know about Mandan's just built on like 2 giant fucking hills.
Yes, yeah, very inclining.
Yeah,
Which compared to this is the flattest. Fargo is the flattest you can ever get. In Mandan, I was like, so this is what hills are? And then I moved to Washington, and I was like, Mandan is not hills.
No, not hills, yeah. But we got some pretty crazy streets that kids don't know any better. If you find anyone in Mandan who's grown up there, they'll show you some sick scar they got from going down some recreational vehicle down a hill.
Well, and I just hit a patch of dirt and I wiped out myself just going down a hill near her place.
Yeah, no, I have a really bad scar on my right knee, and I was like, just road biking down this like Collins Hill, huge hill.
Yeah.
And I was like, check out that dead squirrel, I'm gonna hop it. And then went to go pop, and my front, like the rumbling of going so fast, caused my front tire to loose. So I went to pop, and my tire came off, and I just went right like 20 miles an hour into the road.
It loosened your tire.
Yeah, it loosened.
That's great. And you're going just speeding.
Yeah, speeding. Like,
and then if you wanted to pop, then you sped up for the pop, and then you lost.
Fork into the ground. And then I just like, and then I thought it was really cool because I just like, I got this under control, and I threw my knees into the ground. And I actually didn't go face first, bust my teeth into the ground. I actually went on my knees for at least a good 20 feet down the hill. But then it's just
20 feet of knee skin.
Yeah, knee skin. Well, on my right one, luckily, for some reason I got a weird righty side, but it's whatever way your dick goes. That's the side you prefer. But then I dragged my shitty broken bike and myself to home, and then my mom was just like, what happened? It's just like, there's a squirrel, and then the tire came off.
I can't believe you told her the truth. I would have made up like somebody beat me up.
Yeah, no, if I told her someone beat me up, my mom would want to go beat him up, and that would be even more embarrassing.
I once just got it was me and another friend, this was after 4th grade, we just decided to destroy my bike. Whatever. And I'm just beating it with sticks, we're throwing it into the road and jumping on it. And then I was going home and I had a broken spoke and 2 flat tires. And I'm like, why did I do any of that? Why did we do any of that? And then I said I got beat up and these bullies destroyed my bike. And then I had to describe them and there wasn't any. So then the next 2 days she started calling my school looking for what I described. And they're like, this kid? And I'm like, no, I wasn't. Different school. Washington, they're from Washington. And then she started calling the other schools. I was like, Mom, I did it.
I did.
And I never got grounded, which is probably what's wrong with me. But it was the closest thing I got to.
We had the same shitlord thing. So I had my friend Jesse Brunel, Nick Stagel. That's the main, and Cody Steckler. So,
yeah.
we were there.
Cody and Nick, I remember.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Jesse Brunel.
I don't think I ever met him.
Yeah, I think when you came in, he was in Job Corps. But I mean, all I remember is how I met Nick and Jesse was pretty much just standing in junior high in my System of a Down shirt, and then Nick coming up you like System of a Down? And it's yeah, and it's just what's your favorite song? And I don't even remember what I said my favorite song was, but then it's just he's all right, you're cool. You want to come over to my place and play Soul Calibur? And it's just yeah, I fucking want to come over and play Soul Calibur. And then
that scene just describes our little horrible moment of us being teenagers.
And then we destroyed a bike also. But that's I still don't know how Nick Stagel never forgave us. It was just me and Jesse Brunel hanging out. And we Nick's bike was there because his parents came and picked him or something. It's hey, you want to destroy Nick's bike? And it's just yeah, why not? And we just had this trailer that had the hitch thing on the ground. We just picked up the hitch and smashed the shit out of the frame of the bicycle. And Nick's why the fuck did you do that? And it's well, Jesse said to do it. And Jesse was I don't know. And it just seemed cool.
Who told me to do it? I don't know. Some guy did it.
Jesse was out of control. He pushed us way, way much.
Yeah, I had one of those friends. You can guess who it was.
He showed me 4chan, and I was 13, and it was just here we go, buddy. We're going down this street, and it's what is this? What is it? What's going on? And he's don't worry, man. That's your first reaction.
I hope he got out on time. Because I love 4chan, and you can't go now.
No.
But there was right before that moment where all the jokes stopped being a joke.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we actually are all like racist rapists now. What? We were just kidding before. We were just making fake jokes.
See, like the white nationalists got real smart there and invading the 4chan.
Yeah,
and tricking everyone.
And it sucks because there was so long where, yeah, I was making those horrible jokes too, but I thought everyone got the joke.
Yeah.
Then now if you go to, like, no, it's not even funny anymore.
No,
there are jokes being made.
It just
believe it or not, I'm kidding. I'll get to that. But let's get through. So, after high school, you moved here?
Yeah.
And did you move here just because, like, Jenny went to school here, you and Scott came here, and Nick came here, so just everyone decided to move here?
I applied to a few different schools.
Yeah, did you go to school right away, right when you moved here? Because I know you went to MSUM at one point, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you got... Did you get a degree?
Yeah, I got a degree.
Okay.
Because I applied to Northwestern. I got Northwestern and MSUM was the ones I got accepted at. I remember off the top of my head. Those were the ones I was disputing between.
Where's Northwestern?
Northwestern is in South Dakota.
Okay. Because I went to a school called Northwest College of Art. And I was like, that would have been crazy if you applied for that.
I think it's South Dakota or Nebraska. I can't remember.
But you came here instead.
Yeah, well, it's just like, I don't have any fucking friends there. I'm not going to risk that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, being weird, ugly, and stupid. You're just like...
Yeah. I know all those adjectives.
Very slim chance of making friends.
Yeah, I know. I got it. So you wanna follow yours.
Yeah.
So then did everyone come out? Because I remember when I went to school and then came back, then you guys were all here.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's all the Man guys are just part of our lives now?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what ended up happening is that me and Scott moved into Bob's.
Yeah.
And we lived in the living room.
You know I still hang out with Scott weekly?
Oh, yeah.
The room we're in is my role-playing room, and I'm in currently 2 games with them right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't see him as much. I don't see anyone as much anymore. But
yeah, I just assumed you just moved on and found cooler friends.
No, it's pretty much like I hang out with like 1 or 2 people a week and then go hang out with the mail. By myself. Listening to podcasts like this.
Yeah, well, no one listens to this one. But anyways, so then I wanted to talk music with you really quick. So, would you have considered yourself, like, all genres or a lot of genres, or are you like me and you alienate almost everything except for a small group that you really love? Because, like, I got, like, 10 bands I listen and memorize every single song of.
Yeah.
And besides that, I don't really care.
You're like a Weenus dude.
I'm a Ween, Primus, Violent Femmes, Nirvana. But
Ween
and Primus are your 2 big ones. But, I mean, every song of Violent Femmes I love, like Buttle Surfers. So I'm very in on a couple bands, but I'm super in on that.
I think actually, like, my first memory of you was, like, you walking by Jenny's house with your headphones in and singing Violent Femmes. Like, meh.
Yeah. Did you know that your friend Scott... And, well, my friend, but Scott went to the same Violent Femmes concert as I did a year before we met. Yeah, what's up? That's meant to be friends.
Meant to be forever.
Yeah, you sang it, Violent Femmes in the same small room as I did. That's also... Alright, we're best friends.
What's your favorite Violent Femmes song? You want to come over and play Soul Calibur?
So, but me and him, it's like, what's your favorite Violent Femmes song? You want to go over and pretend to be superheroes and roll dice? Yeah!
You want to spend 30 hours building a background story? Yeah!
30 hours? What do I look like, some novice to you?
Oh, that's before you even start to play.
Yeah, well, I'm a character lover, so I'll, like, somebody... When we have a new guy or a new person who's starting a new game and someone's like, I just don't know what to play. I'm like, you want one of my 15 concepts I'm not going with? Because I'm currently struggling between these 2, but I got 15 other good ones. Anyways, I don't want to just talk game too much because that alienates everybody. There's like 6 giant nerds in this whole town and I know them all. Anyways.
Music-wise, like, I like a lot of stuff. I mean, I even like most pop music. I mean, even country, like country from the
some country.
Yeah.
There's
country from like the 50s to like the
that stuff is great. Yeah, but I feel like there's a tipping point with all music, and I know I'm a minority on this, but when catchiness is more important than talent is when I get out of it. when they're just, like Nickelback, I think is the number one of all catch, no substance.
I don't know. Sometimes I prefer catchiness because, 1877 cars for kids, KARS for kids. That's not even a real song, it's a fucking jingle. But it's catchy as fuck. You know what? I'll be walking around delivering the mail and I'll be like, 1877 cars for kids.
Yeah,
those actually pay me.
That works as a jingle, and jingles are supposed to do that. But I want a song to question me. I want a song to make me like, oh yeah, whoa. Like maybe it's
I'm just so weird. Like good cop, bad cop on you.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want a song out of nowhere.
You know who you are.
Or here's a good example, like, and this is such a you're not gonna get this unless you grew up at the exact same moment as we did. But like Say Anything.
Oh, yeah,
like the super catchy pop sound.
Words.
Yeah, but all the lyrics get super violent and punky out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll find me with my flamethrower and bet your life it will be pretty. Like, whoa! But it's like super poppy.
And then he got married and it just went downhill.
I didn't, just the Is a Real Boy was the album
and then
I loved.
Became in the Jewish faith and even wrote a
Well, he was very Jewish beforehand, but...
He went full-blown with it.
But my point is I love that where you can be catchy, but I still want the lyrics to do something. Mm-hmm. Like with pop music right now, every once in a while there's a pop song where I'm like, yes. Like Sail from AWOL Nation, AWOL Nation, I can't talk right now, but I was like, hey, look, a good pop song. Or freaking like Radioactive from Imagine Dragons, I'm like, hey, look, a good pop song. And then everything else is like, I don't want to go work. It's like, no, I'm out. That's horrible.
The Cardi B song I really don't care for. But what I like about that Cardi B song is I see a lot of old people still jamming it. Even now. And then I remember going to Hornbachers and it was just this 80-year-old lady was parked in the handicap spot and just fucking Cardi B blaring right out of it. It's just like, alright, this is fine. I'm fine, Cardi B. Cardi B's down with the old ladies at Hornbachers.
Oh man, that's good. So let's skip to, what did you do in school?
What did I do in school? I originally went for psychology.
Okay.
And I went
Why?
Oh man, I don't know. I still ask myself that because I went for 3 years.
Oh,
for
wow.
Psychology, yeah.
I mean, I like psych. I like psych and philosophy are my favorite things. And I actually think those should be way more mainstream and taught, like when people are like, oh, you went for liberal arts? I'm like, yeah, well, liberal arts should just be in high school. I'm sorry, like, a lot of that of learning about yourself, like anthropology of philosophy, I think are just things that should be taught. I mean, especially I just discovered so much about myself from those college classes, and it always feels weird when I want to bring up, like, just the small things like structuralism, like how words are just sounds made by me squeezing air through my throat with my tongue in a certain area, and they actually don't mean anything. It's just intent, and that's what gives them meaning, is us giving them meaning. Is that a sound by somebody who doesn't know the language means nothing, which makes the sounds mean nothing. That's just structuralism. Yeah, and I hate that no one got taught that. I feel like
symbology.
Yeah, in symbology, I feel like symbiotics, structuralism should be just part of, like, I don't know, English class.
See,
and I'm weird like that, but it's just weird then when you meet people who haven't, looked for any extracurricular education, which is fine. Yeah. But I feel like I'm just not in the same world at all. Because that's
the funny thing, too, is it's like, all right, so you ready for my degree? Mm-hmm. I have a BA in film production theory, a minor in psychology, a minor in philosophy, and almost a minor in anthropology. So all the stuff you were making
everything I just said. I wasn't making fun of it. That's the stuff I love.
Yeah, I know. But it's the thing you shouldn't go to college for.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that's the thing that should just be taught. Yeah. I don't think you should major in it. Yeah. But I love that, like, if I could do school, I would have that same degree.
Oh, yeah, no.
But I hate school. I hate being able to take classes. I hate tests.
Yeah, I had a counselor who was just straight up like, teaching advisor or whatever, and they just be like, well, you should just major in minors. When he was like, this is just like, I mean, I had 3 years of school and I went for another 4. So I went to school for 7 years.
So the things people minor in to punch up their resume, you went all in on those.
I went all in. It was just,
What's your film? Just film?
It's film production.
Film production. Yeah. I thought you said film theory. I'm like, that's the most pointless one.
Yeah, well, that technically could have a minor.
I can tell you what Hitchcock did for directing. Oh, does that help me at all?
We had this professor. He was great, but God, man, some people hate him. Like, I remember we watched Battleship Potemkin.
Okay. That
And-
went over at least
Yeah.
my head in
Yeah.
this room. I don't know.
All right, so Battleship Potemkin was pretty much a propaganda film for Russia, communist
Oh!
Russia.
Is it the one with one huge long tracking shot, or is that a different one? Because I have watched one Russian propaganda film that was like this beautiful tracking shot following this flag that is moving around the town and everyone's stopping and seeing it, and it was like,
Oh yeah, no, that's
that's
the dead body of a sailor.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, structurally awesome. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not down for communist propaganda, but yeah, or any
Yeah.
type of propaganda.
It's like because it's got this great. The big thing is known for the steppes of Odessa, where they like kill a bunch of civilians, like the military does.
Damn.
But once it finished, like Tony's just like he knows who to pick on, and he'll just be like, Sarah. I noticed you seemed very enthralled over there. Sarah was like fucking buried face deep in the fucking desk. She was at least 6 feet under wood. But then she was like, "What do you think of the film?" It's boring. He literally like stood up and walked out of the fucking classroom. And he's just like, "This is a 300 level college course, and the critique you give me is it's boring." And it's just like, "Why is it boring, Sarah?" And it's like, "I don't know, I fell asleep." And it's just like,
I like the balls on Sarah though. She didn't fuck around.
just straight up, just like she had to go balls out, man, because it's just
we had to give a teacher. I'm trying to remember his name. Stern McManus. I'm not making that. No, McMullen. Stern McMullen. Hilarious dude. Like, at least pushing 70 and had like a 35-year-old wife, and he was a huge pothead. Loved the dude. Anyways, he wanted 300 words on Vertigo.
no, you can do that easy.
Well, you might be able to do that easily, but everyone's like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And the funny thing is, we didn't have time to watch all of Vertigo, so he just gave us the clips. This is what I figured out. Huge Harvey Danger fan. You might know where I'm going. So first song on the Harvey Danger album, Where Have All the Merrymakers Gone? First song on that album is called Carlotta Valdez.
Oh.
And it goes all the way through all of Vertigo.
Yeah.
And I just listened to that song. First off, we had a test on Vertigo. I listened to that song on my headphones as I was taking the test and aced it because of a Harvey Danger song. And then I just, pretty much just went on about how, sexist Hitchcock was. And I got an A.
Easy.
Huge.
Yes.
Huge. Like, literally, he told Jimmy Stewart not to look at a girl unless she was physically under him. Like, that's some hardcore stuff. When there's a scene where Madeline's talking at him and she's standing up and he's sitting down and he's, looking away, and then she gets down and he's, looks at her, it's like, oh my god, what the hell, Hitchcock? Wait until she's in her rightful place, Jimmy.
Alright, so, 300 pages on Vertigo. You ready for this?
Okay. Oh,
300
no, don't
pages,
give me
300 words.
300
words.
Yeah, 300. I'm like, don't give me 300 words right now. We still
Alright.
got a bunch of stuff to talk
Alright.
about.
I had to write a 10-page essay analyzing a horror film of my choice, but it had to be made within this year.
No
And I
way.
didn't-
In this year?
No,
the year of it?
No, the year as in
But
the
there
class.
hasn't
I can't
been,
remember.
besides this year, I don't think there's been a really great horror movie.
Well, Hereditary.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Hereditary's fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it's,
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's easily
I think it's up
Wicker
there.
Man meets Exorcist meets The Shining. That's why I think.
Well, the old Wicker Man.
Yeah, the old Wicker
The
Man.
good
No,
Wicker
no,
Man.
no, not the beast.
Or just the family getting killed by the truck and it just never goes back. Or when he buys that self-help book in the beginning for no reason. What the hell is that movie about? Anyway.
I can't remember what year it was, but the only horror film I seen at the time, we had to decide that period, that day of the class, and so it was just
God, 10 pages?
Yeah, and it was
Fuck
what did I
that.
see? What did I see? I can't remember, and it had to be that many of the year. And I was just like, oh yeah, Tusk.
You wrote 10 pages on Tusk?
I wrote a 10-page paper on Tusk.
Oh.
And I wanted to send it to Kevin Smith because it was just like,
Christ.
all right, we have to analyze here about the phallus of the walrus horn being driven into.
Oh my
It
god.
was just.
And the skin of the walrus is made up of faces of other humans, and that means this. Oh my god.
We watched the castration.
Dude, who the hell wants to read 10 pages
on
of
Tusk?
Tusk?
Kevin
That
Smith-
teacher had to have, drank through that whole
Kevin
reading.
Smith probably kept the fucking script for Tusk under 10 pages.
Yeah. No shit. Well,
still
no,
remember
it was
when,
based on a podcast.
Yeah.
He said that every once in a while he forgot what the movie was about, so he re-listened to the podcast. Like, if that's how you make a movie, you're not doing it right. I'm sorry. I love Kevin Smith. I think he's responsible for 2 of the most important films of the last 50 years, Dogma and Clerks. But
Yoga Hoser.
it's so bad. We watched it together.
Which is a continuation of Tusk, and they bring
I
the
know,
Johnny
they-
Depp character back.
They wanted
the Mountie.
I thought the View Obscure universe was like the worst cinematic universe until Yoga Hosers came out. I mean, by worst, I mean like most ridiculous. I love half of those movies, if not more than half. But I think Dogma is one of the greatest movies of all time, but that might just be me. I think it's a masterpiece.
That's alright.
We had a burp, but it came out light. All right, so you knew Jenny for how many years before you started dating her? Forever? You grew up with her? You went to high school with her? So when you moved, like right when you moved in Mandan, you met her?
Yeah, I think it was late junior high, early high school.
Okay, so why the hell did she just out of nowhere, and this is multiple boyfriends, multiple girlfriends, because I know at least one of your longish term girlfriends before that, I know a couple people she dated. Out of nowhere, why did you guys just, like, you just beat down her wheel enough, or, like you were like, it's me or no one?
Have you ever seen the movie Misery?
Yeah, I love this. Is that why she walks with a limp?
Because
You hobbled the crap out of
we
her?
literally started dating after a blizzard. We were snowed in like the fucking college.
That was it?
Yeah.
Like one desperate night turned into a desperate life?
Misery.
That's great.
Just
That's so I remember hearing that and I thought it was a joke. Like, oh yeah, Luke's dating Junker now. And I didn't think she liked you for the longest time. I thought that you were one of the friends that she just put up with because you're part of the group. Much like I have a lot of those friends.
Yeah, you just
You know, you're also there.
I was
So
surprised.
she's put up with it.
I think I was surprised as everyone else.
Or has she looked at you? Because you're a weird looking dude and
I
she's
don't
super
know.
cute. I don't know if she knows.
She may have.
This is like Brian Posehn and his hot wife. Like, that's what
But
you
see,
are.
Brian Posehn at least has a little bit of money and some creative talent.
Yeah, but not when they started dating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got married before. All right, he was on like News Radio and that was it. But he could not have made a shit ton of money from News Radio.
I still love when I got my Deadpool comic signed by him at Paradox.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, I
was
have it
sitting in
somewhere.
line, and it was
This
just
room.
like, "What's your name?" And it's like, "Luke." Oh, that's a name. Just like, thank you, Brian.
I told him that I was doing and I was like, hey, I'm working on a role playing game that takes place in this world, but certain celebrities or famous people are mutants, and they're just coming out at this time, which is exactly what I was doing. And I was like, if you had a mutant power, what would it be? And I'll incorporate it into the game. And then he just like the biggest nerd boner came out of his face. He was so happy.
Was this a superpower? Like, I just want a big
boner. No, he wanted to be invisible because he's so ugly, is what he said.
Oh,
He's like, I'm tired of people looking at me like some monstrosity and I like to be invisible. So then I literally and the news, Brian Posehn disappeared. Like, he's now invisible. And that's what I did in the game.
Could you imagine just sitting around and all of a sudden hearing Brian Posehn's voice?
Or one of his farts.
Oh!
He has one of those giant man farts. But anyways, so he wrote on my Deadpool comic, Mark, you're freaking awesome. So that's it. I got his approval. I gave up after that. And then I met my wife. Gave up. No, I think we were... No, she went to Brian Posehn with me. Because he signed comics at Paradox. And then the next day he did stand-up. And he did the entire, hour and a half on Star Wars, his dick, and farts. Brilliant.
Wait, how did it all come together?
I can't remember because it was 6 years ago. But anyways, it was awesome.
And then I saw the new Star Wars and I farted on my dick.
No, the new Star Wars wasn't out yet.
Oh,
6 years ago.
Shit, yeah.
Freaking idiot.
Just sorry.
Then I farted on my dick. Done. That was my show. Thank you. Good night. We're bringing out Prime Regan.
I still think the weirdest person, famous person I ever met was when, John Waters.
I was just gonna say when John Waters hit on you all night.
Yeah, John Waters came here and then
Did you sit on his pencil mustache?
No,
Sorry.
it was.
Sorry,
really,
we should probably edit that joke out. That's fine.
it was really bizarre because it was just like, oh my god, John Waters, I want to touch him, and then after
And then he's like, "Hi, I'm John Waters. I
Yeah.
want to touch you."
Yeah, no, it was just and he's just like, oh, it's so nice, and it was just I don't know, it was really fucking bizarre.
Left? Okay.
Oh,
Have we already talked for an hour? No. Hour and a half.
Hour and 15.
We're going an hour and 15?
Yeah.
Oh. Why? All
You can
right.
go for an hour and a half.
I like hour and a half. I don't know how you got
Fine.
hour and 15. Sorry, that's me and
Fine.
my producer yelling at me. He's the talented person in the room, and I'm just the idiot. Okay. Okay.
This is my producer.
So how much time left?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. All right, thank you, Billy. Oh, man, he has to move to Texas soon, and I'm going to be, like, so dead in the water with this podcast. So if you want to throw away a Sunday every week, you'll let me know.
Oh, no.
No.
Sunday's the only day I get.
Like, dude, I'm hating just being in this room.
It is very smelly. It's
It's
warm
because
and
we can't
smelly.
turn on the fan because of the
I know,
microphone.
It makes noise. I can smell your caramelized onions. I mean, you can
You're
tell.
sweating as bad as those
You
onions
can
did.
tell. You can tell I'm a mailman because, like, look, I'm barely perspiring. And you look at Mark, and it's like.
No, I just do that. Me and Billy had the talk before we started where I was like, oh man, I'm sweaty today. And he's like, dude, you just sweat. By the end of this podcast, you just drip. And I don't know. Emma's like, what do you think? Is it because I'm like nervous of like talking in front of a microphone, which I don't think I am. And then he's like, no, I just think you're a fat, sweaty guy. Yeah, that's probably it.
It's just get sweaty.
Oh, man, that's like an old, I can't believe I'm quoting this stand-up of all, but like an old Kevin James joke. And he was like, when you're fat, you don't even need an excuse to like sweat. Like, he's like, I was really sweaty. My friends came over and they were like, geez, were you just like jumping rope in the attic? Peeled an orange. And that's me. When Leslie's like, wow, did you already go on a long bike ride today? I'm like, did some dishes. I'm just sweaty, honey. Like, that's why I miss the
Just the
winter.
worst.
I don't sweat at all for like 6 months.
Yeah, the winter's great.
And then the winter, or summer, I'm just dripping. Anyways, I wanted to talk, we touched on music a little bit, of your musical taste. So, what's the name of this genre, and why do I hate it so much? Was it noise?
You are thinking of noise music.
There we go. Wasn't noise punk a thing?
Yeah, noise punk is a thing.
Yeah, why'd you have to ruin the word noise for me?
No,
Because I love noise punk. Noise punk is great.
No, punk borrowed noise.
Oh, come on. Noise came out before noise punk?
Noise has been going around since we fucking invented, like, the fucking...
You think noise, like...
Well, experimental music.
Okay, so like Beefheart and Zappa.
Oh, even earlier. Keep going back.
Who was before Beefheart and Zappa?
There was, like, a dude, he just sit there, like, with a fucking metal bar. I watched a documentary of this shit, and he just hit a metal bar, and he's like, that's it.
Okay. I want this to become a bit of an argument because I want to talk to you about this noise thing. I don't get it. I just don't. And I feel like, and also I know at least one person in town, we don't need to talk about him, hates everyone who doesn't get it, or at least that's what I figured it out. But
Cowards. The word you're thinking is cowards.
Okay, that's what we are as cowards. I'm sorry if I need a beat.
No,
that's what it is I don't have at least a few noise shows I watch, there's no beat, and I can't get into it.
I think Andrew made a really good point about it. The people who like noise music must have irregular heartbeats.
Really?
It's like, that's possible, I should go get checked.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, it's like, that's a big thing, like, that got me fun, like, not made fun of, but just ignored in school, is like, I like experimental film, too. It's like
I love I get experimental film.
It's a cerebral experience. It's
I just feel like it needs a different word, and that's not trying to insult it.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like music is defined with a beat and a rhythm and a tempo, and noise just doesn't have those things. And I'm not saying it's a lesser form. I think it's a different art form. Mm-hmm. The difference between drawing and painting, they're just not the same.
I'd rather call it music and musician, and that's the one thing I really hate is when people use the term art for noise music.
Yeah.
It's just like,
art is
buddy,
I made art when I shat. Like, art can be literally used for any type of expression, and I'll tell you, my shits are expression. But but that's something that I've always argued, and I know you've heard me make this argument, is everything, no one can tell me that something isn't art.
Yeah.
You can just tell me you don't like it.
Yeah.
You're allowed to not like when Marcel Duchamp hung a urinal up in, like, 1919, which, by the way, is fantastic that he did that. I can't believe he invented Dadaism before all the other art forms. Like, Impressionism wasn't even a thing yet. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I went super hardcore there for a second, but you can go ahead and say that's bad art, Because it's just a urinal he wrote R Mutt on. I get it. That's bad art. You can't tell me it's not art because it's still expressing yourself. So I can go ahead and take a shit on a plate and hand it to you and be like, that's a sculpture. And you can say, like, it's a bad sculpture. But you cannot tell me it is an art. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but that's my stance on it.
Yeah.
So I will say noise is art. I don't know if I can call it music. I just don't know. Just like how
You were just disappointing so many cassette fans out there.
All right.
It's I mean,
It's okay. No one listens to this show.
it's
fine.
it's a taste. It's a taste, and I don't know.
What do you get out of it? Because you were talking about catchiness. There's no way it's catchy.
No, and it's not catchy.
So you're looking for like a
you know, like
an existential experience.
Yeah, like it's almost like the same thing with like metal and like hardcore music, but
Which I also am not huge on.
Yeah. But see, those things will have to like. It's kind of like you get caught in the tropes.
Okay.
And noise music has its tropes too, but it's just like you'll be sitting there like, all right, it's and it's just like okay, all right, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and also it's like something will just happen like they'll stand up and like scream like or like hit themselves in the face with a chain.
Yours I get a little more because I've heard a couple of yours and I was super intrigued. I remember you were filming one down at Seagrave, years ago, and I just remember you yelling like "Repent, repent, repent," or something like that. You were like yelling something and it was repeating. I'm like, that's awesome. Put a drum beat behind it. I'm in.
Yeah.
That sounded great.
The hardcore noise fans would argue my stuff isn't noise. They say it's death industrial.
Death industrial?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to hang myself.
Yeah.
Right?
So noise music is just straight noise, and then there's harsh noise wall, which is just like constant noise. It's just constantly.
I can't do that.
And then power electronics is. It's someone screaming randomly.
See, I want to edit out you just talking about this. That's how much I hate what you're doing. But at the same time, and I want it to be said, that it doesn't mean I'm disrespecting the people who are into it or disrespecting even the people who are doing it. I think it's great. Just like how I feel like just because you don't get my paintings, I don't want you to hate me for it. It's just something that's making me happy that I'm doing, and it's how I'm expressing myself right now.
I think the big thing,
and that's why I'm not going to hate you because that's what I do. My paintings aren't for everyone.
Yeah, I think the big thing is like a lot of people also too is like, you know, since a lot of people don't get it, they immediately just assume it's like an elitist, pretentious thing or whatever, and it's just like
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's just like you're doing exactly what you're hating. Is it's just like the people don't care if you come to their fucking noise show. They just want to go hit a bunch of fucking distortion pedals at once and just scream into the void.
Yeah. Okay, here's a joke that me and a different person at Seagrave made, and this is so mean. But it was so perfect. There was a noise show going on, inauguration night. I know you remember this night.
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty sure you remember this night. And I was in the back doing something a little too loud, and I was told to be quiet, and I was okay with that. I didn't realize anyone could hear me over the noise. And I didn't want to disrupt the show. I just wasn't watching the show. I was just trying to create art because my art studio's down there. But just that, and there was this noise going, and no one's moving. Everyone's just staring at somebody like, you know, bending crap, just like working on the floor, and everyone's just staring like so intently at it, and no one's moving. They're all motionless. And then the other artist, I don't want to call him out. So Spencer says to me, who's also painting, is like, if they all just turn around, like, going at World's End, like lights shining out of their eyes and their mouths, just screaming, I would not be surprised right now. like they're just staring it out, just wait for them to just like turn around, just go, like, oh no!
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I bet you, like being a cerebral experience. Like you just get so lost, and especially if it like. All right, so my strict rule, like noise bands, like normal bands, you have to set up and you actually have to like do a whole lot more work than noise bands, in my opinion. And I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could 20-minute set.
Yeah.
Noise bands, no more than 10 minutes. You give me any more than 10 minutes, I'm gonna be pissed. And I even got to like a fest where it's like 28X and it's just like 7 p.m. 8:45 we're done. Because it's just you know people play like a 2-minute set.
Yeah.
And it's just I mean that's the thing is it's like then people don't care. It's just like I've seen there's this great group called Cocky SP and I don't know if they're really doing it anymore. But they'd like play a 2-minute set and you've been waiting the whole night to see them. You see that 2-minute set and you're still fucking stoked that they played for 2 minutes. And then there'll be times too they'll be standing outside like, you guys, Cocky SP's starting. They just started. We only got like another 45 seconds. Get in here. We gotta get over there.
So listening to it, especially live, so it is more of a just zoning out and just like kind of letting the music take over you, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just ate like a really big pot cookie and you're just like embracing everything around
it's a
you.
Flaming Lips concert without a beat.
Well, Flaming Lips doesn't have a bass drum, so
Yeah, well,
they still have a beat, but they don't have a bass drum. And it's funny because I never really got into Flaming Lips either. So.
You know, everyone, because I always see people talk about like Flaming Lips and going to their shows about how much
Well,
the
yeah,
experience
I would
is.
always go to if I ever had the chance, or I mean, I've had the chance. They
You
came
did, like,
here.
twice.
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody gave me tickets,
Yeah, someone gave me
or if I had
tickets
a
for
girlfriend
me.
who was into it,
Yeah.
which my girlfriend's not, I'd go. But here's another funny thing, and I don't want to touch on this too much longer because there's at least one big topic I want to get on with you. But I work at a factory whose you can probably assume most of the people who work at the factory. I like the people I work with for the most part, but they hate me for my musical taste, like period. Like I had a radio show for a small time on KRFF, on Radio Free Fargo, and with Corey Gunkelman, who just amazing musical taste in my eyes. I think he's like, we'd be so close to musical soulmates if he wasn't just slightly weirder than I am. Because every once in a while he'll be like, "Can't believe you're playing another Harvey Danger song. They're so pop." I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? It's Harvey Danger. But anyways, like, they call me a hipster weirdo who just hates everything mainstream, and that's just because I love Ween and Primus. And then I just want to be like, and I told them,
kids,
like, dude, listen to Noise and then give me shit about my musical taste. Like, that's what I've always told them. Like, at least I have a beat. Go listen to Noise and you're gonna be like, Ween is so mainstream. Like, and that's another thing. Somebody who is kind of part of, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, but your friend group, or at least friends with your friend group, who's like, hey, what good band should I listen to today? And I was like, Ween and Primus, and somebody just like, they suck.
Yeah.
I was like, too mainstream for you? Like, what the hell? One of them had one, like, hit, like, Primus had one hit that was, like, with Ozzy singing in front of them, and they were doing an Ozzy song, and it's, like, the only Primus song you hear on the radio, maybe one known as Big Brown Beaver. I don't consider them radio-friendly. I just don't. Primus has 30 albums, and then Ween, maybe in the 90s, that you heard, like, Voodoo Lady on, like, 2 Tom Green movies that doesn't make it, or Sean William Scott movies. Dude, Where's My Car and Road Trip. I can't believe I just grabbed that movie knowledge on my ass. But anyways, my point is I'm made fun of for being not mainstream, and I can't believe, and then I'm made fun of for being too mainstream from, like, the Noise group. So it's so weird.
I mean, it's just it gets the personal taste thing. Like I don't care for Primus, but I don't mind Ween. But you know what? I'll be just like.
But that doesn't mean you're going to listen to all 100 or 200 songs of Ween, because I have this giant catalog that stretches so many different genres, and a lot of it is fucking horrible. And a lot of it's amazing in my eyes.
That's like David Bowie, too. No one listens to 90s David Bowie.
I actually don't really like a lot of David Bowie. I like David Bowie as a guy. I thought he played Andy Warhol in that movie Basquiat amazingly. Yeah. And, you know, that's kind of it. That's kind of where and then Space Oddity was good. But our producer's yawning, so we must try to be a little more interesting. You're just tired. How are we doing? Are we boring you to death? Okay, cool. So we already did music, and so you didn't go to school for art at all. So you consider visual art. You didn't go to school for visual art. Visual art at all. Okay.
So our professors would just be fucking flipping tables right now. It's just like, video is an art form.
Okay. But so visual art, painting and stuff. But you did have an art studio. Do you still technically have the art studio down there?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like the best space, and just fucking make it, like, come down there if you don't want me to steal it. Because I will steal it for like 3 months and you wouldn't even notice.
Oh no, I mean Jenny shared too though. So Jenny's.
Yeah, but I never see Jenny down there either.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I don't go down there anymore. But
You need weird crossing paths.
I do feel that way because I haven't talked to you for like 2 freaking years, and I know we're in the same building.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't get, especially summer. I'm not gonna, because I can bike right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I have free time, I'm gonna go on a 20-mile bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go sit in a basement. I'm so like
Nice.
that's where it goes.
Humid.
Yeah,
Damn
humid as
basement.
shit, and then, you know, we keep the big door open, and you know what I hate? And this is such a just, when people keep the big door open down there and still smoke, like when it's super cold. So they're like, yeah, but I want I want like the warmth of the studio to brush out. I'm like, yeah, but that negative 40 is coming in, and I'm not gonna be painting in a parka, you dick. Like, I don't care. Shut up.
I tried it once.
Paint in a parka?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sweating talking to you. How would I be in a parka?
You should paint on a parka.
I would do that if you gave me one. Yeah. Okay. So you consider yourself a visual artist anymore? Because I don't think you've really created any paintings in a long time.
I haven't done anything in a while. That's because the good old postal service.
All right. How much are you working? You do 40 hours a week?
Yeah, now I'm a regular career. I do 40 hours a week.
Okay. I know you got to work up to because it's a government job and you have to jump through a shit ton of hoops for any government job. But I love that you're an employee of the government, so haha.
Yeah, no,
that's super ironic and hilarious.
I have a couple friends that's just like, it's the only federal thing I appreciate. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Just the postal service.
I am glad that like any hardcore person on either side is still like either they're hardcore right or hardcore left, you still kind of hate the government. Like if you go too far either side, you're like postal service and fixing the roads. That's all we need them for. And then that's the only thing they can agree on.
One time I talked to my stepdad. Like he's totally libertarian, and it was just like, you don't like this, you don't like that, you don't like this. You're an anarchist.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's funny because I consider myself an anarchist, and for lack of better definition, a libertarian. Mm-hmm. Is because I'm small business and even smaller government, and that's how I put it. Mm-hmm. And that's because I think a lot of the, and I am gonna get political. I have political shit written down, and I usually don't get political, but there's definitely a couple things I want to talk to you about. But yeah, so I think the further you go in the left is more regular. A lot of places there's more regulations and things like that, therefore more government. But of course, the further you go on the right, you get other types of regulations. Yeah. So I mean, and also I don't like far either side. Like I feel like as soon as you say I believe with everything one side says, I'm like, I can't believe you agree with this many million people on all those topics. I just don't believe it. And if you do, what the hell? Have a thought of your own.
Wake up, sheeple.
Yeah, well, and I'm not trying to say that, but like I'm, pro-gun, pro-choice, pro, women's rights, pro-gay rights, and then and I feel like I can't, I feel like such a landmine on both sides, where my super far left friends think I'm some right-wing Koch brother fucking dick sucker, and then all my right friends think I'm some Karl Marx motherfucker. Like, because I'm in the middle, I'm hated by everybody. Yeah. Which I love. It's horrible, but I love it.
I tried explaining even to like a coworker once where he's going on about lefties. Which you're not supposed to go on about lefties in the Postal Service. It's a thing called the Hatch Act. You're not supposed to talk about politics.
Really? Yeah. As a government worker, you're not supposed to bring up politics?
Yeah, well...
I wish the government would take over the sugar factory, because I'm really tired of hearing about politics there.
But, like, he's just like, I'm tired of all these lefties wanting to do blah, 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 and it's just like, everyone just finds their own fucking business. Like... Let that person go to the bathroom they want to go to the bathroom in. Let you go shoot your gun out in your fucking bar.
And that's really gets to is people always, both sides talk about freedom as they hinder another freedom. Yeah. They're like, I think we should be free to go to any bathroom we want, but they should be having this taken away from them. I'm like, whoa, hey, whoa. Like, come on. I mean, I'm sure I might offend some people out there, but I do think that guns right now have to have something done with them. Yeah. I don't think they need to be taken away, but kids are being shot, period. I feel like we need to at least pass something to get less kids shot, but I don't think they need to be taken away, or all of them. And, and I have a lot of views on that, but that's my strongest is like, something should be done, because there's a problem. It's not going to be fixed by not doing anything.
Obviously, we have to create a psyops child that can see all future tragedies.
Yeah.
And then that's what will be solved.
Yeah, we should go Minority Report. Yeah. Now. We should just get that pool, get those 3 weird kids. But anyway, so which brings me to your favorite person in the world, Pete Teft.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me tell you a funny story about the other guy in this room and me. So we were talking about Pete Teft, and then sorry to call you out, Billy, but I know you'll agree. But he's like, I like Safely as a guy, but I can't believe he's just calling out this guy with flyers, and trying to get him like blacklisted, and the guy hasn't done anything wrong. And then Pete Teft gets talked to, and instead of using that platform to like say, hey, like, he's wrong, I should be blacklisted for no reason, he uses that platform to be racist.
Yeah.
Which immediately, and then Billy's like, yeah, never mind, he was right. like, instead of like, hey, I don't hate everyone, and it's wrong that somebody's trying to get me kicked out of businesses for no reason. He's like, but the blacks, though, like, oh my god.
Pro-white activists.
So how did...
I'll identify
so
how
how
to be identified pro-white activists.
Yes, pro-white activist, which doesn't sound any better either. And that's the funny thing. I'm not a Nazi, I'm a pro-white nationalist. Doesn't sound any better, bro. But so, for people who don't know what we're talking about, tell me everything about the Pete Teft thing.
Man, we're gonna be here 30 minutes, right, Billy?
Yeah.
All right.
I purposely gave us a small amount of time to do this. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, I figured so. I don't even know where to start with Pete Teft. I don't even know.
So how'd you meet him? Or how'd you find out about his views?
Someone posted this thing, like, with some screenshots saying that they ran, or someone they know ran into Pete Teft, and then they were able, and someone's like, oh, Pete Teft? I know about Pete Teft. Check out these screenshots. And there's a bunch of screenshots of...
And I didn't know about him at all until I saw the flyers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then, like, it was like, he had a Tinder profile with 1488, which is a big Nazi white nationalist thing.
Okay.
And then he had a Twitter going on about the Jews. Did you ever see that Chris Berg interview? And he's like, I don't hate the Jews. And it's just like, I wanted to just like screen capture that and just like post it all over white nationalist sites and to like get him blackballed out of the fucking white nationalist groups. But the weird thing about him is, so I had people who knew him that reached out and he's like, he's not like this. He's not like this. It's just like, he was just at it like, I guess he used to identify as bisexual and had like a boyfriend at the time and he was like at a pride parade. And so someone told me that he pretty much like had a snap.
Yeah.
And
I saw the Facebook post from his like niece about how he's just not he's not all there.
Yeah,
like he's just not mentally okay, and we shouldn't be looking at him as a normal person. We should look at him as a sick person, not a normal person with extreme views, but an extreme person with extreme views.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, cool, make sure everyone hears that. Because that's a very important part.
Yeah, and then going back to 4chan, supposedly, during his snap, he was scrolling through the 4chans. But it kind of got to the point where it's just like, all these people know him and interact with him.
And they don't realize he has these strong views.
And they don't realize he has these strong views, or they're just like, they do, because I mean, that's the thing, is like, I saw some people who only had like 100 Facebook friends and they're a Facebook friend with him. And it's just like, if I scroll through shit, I still see shit, like I have like 300 friends and I'm friends with Mark Gaviglio and I still see a bunch of shit that Mark Gaviglio posts.
Yeah.
So how the fuck are you guys ignoring like a bunch of this crazy ass Nazi shit that Pete Teft's like posting?
Do I post crazy ass Nazi shit?
No, not you. No, I'm just saying.
But you saw my Gary Johnson stuff 2 years ago, and
you just
for some reason you didn't unfriend me, so that must be one thing.
you just scroll through it and then it's this willful blindness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, he's a friend of mine, or like I know him, so I'm just gonna ignore what he's saying because he's going through a.
Well, I had a super right wing guy during the election who was friends, and then even changed his name in the Pepe the Frog as his whatever Facebook profile picture, and eventually got to the point where I wanted to know. Like, it was like a very train wreck, but not only that, like, no, this is my window into the extreme. I can't unfriend this guy. Mm-hmm. I didn't unfriend anyone during that entire election. I'm one of the only people I know who didn't. Because I don't see the reason of turning my blind eye on the other side, because the other side's gonna be there. Mm-hmm. If you turn your blind eye, he's still there, and you should know what he's doing. Like, so it's keeping your enemies close. So I stayed friends with that guy. Now he doesn't say anything anymore, because, I don't know, he can't...
Dark web.
Yeah, he went dark web. But anyways, okay, so then what makes the decision, and I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate with this question, but what gives you the authority to say he shouldn't be allowed places?
That doesn't give me... I have the authority, just like he has
the authority to say
those shitty things. People have, like, that's the thing, is you have the right to have an opinion without the government interfering, but you don't have the right to have an opinion with someone else interfering. So if I don't want you in my business because you have shitty views, I have the right to tell you to get the fuck out of my business.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I always say, whenever somebody goes, I have the right to my opinion, I always say, but you are not free from consequence.
Yeah.
Like, you have the freedom of opinion, but not freedom of consequence.
I
I can go ahead and scream or rape or fire in a crowd, but if I get trampled or beat to death, it's because I did it. Like, I'm not free from those consequences. I can be a racist piece of shit, but people are now going to treat me accordingly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's up. Like, so go ahead and be the person you want to be, but we're going to treat you like the person you are. I said that way better than I ever thought I was going to. Wow, that was great. I'm going to take my drink.
But yeah, it's just, it's really bizarre. And then, like, I even had, like, some of his family members and, like, old friends reach out to me and tell me that I didn't help the situation by doing it because they were addressing it.
So,
it's like,
so you straight up put flyers around town?
Yeah.
Or how did it go? I just saw it once you got into the paper and what happened? What did you do?
I posted a bunch of flyers with a link connected to a bunch of screenshots of the shit he said.
Yeah.
And just hung those around downtown. Because that's the area he was hanging out. And it's just like, no, I don't want this.
So it was straight up quotes from him.
Yeah, well,
And it was actually like you copy and pasted it from shit he said?
Yeah, and then put it inside of a hyperlink. So they had to enter the hyperlink to see it. Because you wouldn't have enough room to put all that fucking shit. Because that's another thing, too.
Well, and also putting violent shit on a flyer regardless of intention's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, if you would be like, no matter the intent, if you write fuck the Jews on a piece of paper, you're now a problem.
Which he's done that, too.
I know, he has. I've seen his flyers. I took pictures of them, and I posted them.
Yeah.
That got shared.
Yeah.
When his weird-ass ones that came up half a year later or
Defend
whatever.
the race, certain shit
Yeah,
like that.
fuck.
Yeah.
The umbrella against all the evil Jews and gays. And, oh my god. It's
really weird because sometimes like I kind of feel bad for him because I'm just like, are you just like, because like you were really bisexual and you had to like,
he seems confused.
He seems super confused, and then he found this form of white nationalism and supposed Catholicism, quotation marks, Catholicism.
Yeah.
But the shitty thing is, like, I've also seen, like, he's got a bunch of support from local people. Then so it's just like, oh, shit.
No,
like,
so you actually did help the situation because you got some support.
Well, no, and then you got the support, but then it's also just kind of like, it kind of also helped because it's just like, all right, you're shitty, you're shitty, you're shitty.
Well,
you're shitty.
also, yeah, and as I already said, he did not help his case. If you would have came out like, I'm a nice guy and this guy's trying to ruin my life for no fucking reason, I would have probably stopped talking to you. I would have been like, dude, you just ruined this guy's life for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
But the fact that he used that as a platform to be like, but the blacks and Jews, though, I was like, oh my god, this guy's shitty.
Well, then the only reason I even went, because someone mentioned to me once, like, you just did that shit to get on the news. And it's just like, the only reason I went...
Do you see how you dressed on the news?
Yeah,
you were...
Because what happened was, like, someone came up to me and was like, yo, someone's hanging up, looking for hanging up those flyers. And I called them and, like, I didn't tell them who I was. Like, why are you looking for people to hang up the flyers? Like, oh, we're writing an article about it, and we got some stuff from Pete. And it's just like, oh, okay, we got shit from Pete. I'm not going to let Pete be the only voice.
Yeah, he cannot have just his side out.
Yeah. So then, I also, when he went on Chris Berg, Valley News Live, POV, I was offered by someone to also come on there to talk with them. And it's just like, I'm not going on fucking Chris Berg with Pete Teff. Because you know what it's going to be? It's going to be a Pete Teff.
Oh, no.
Chris
Berg, I watched his, and that's one thing that made me just like, Jesus Christ. I can't believe Chris Berg should talk to somebody. Like, and I already thought of this podcast by the time that happened. And I was like, I had a thought for a second, like, yeah, could I have Pete Teff on here? And then my second thought was, no. I don't think I would let him out.
There's
like, I can't handle racism at that level, period, around me without losing it.
Well,
like, I stopped being rational.
Like Joe Rogan? Like, I love Joe Rogan. I don't mind Joe Rogan, but most of his podcasts is just like, I'm going to take in these extreme sides and talk to him, and it's just like, that's it. You don't take in the left or whatever. It's mostly
he's got some left. Kyle Kaluski or whatever his name, that was really great. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of problems with there isn't a lot of people on the left who do what a lot of people on the right do. There isn't a lot of people on the left who straight up have there is no left Ben Shapiro right now that I know about at least. And as much as I sometimes agree economically, I will agree with Ben Shapiro to a point. But what knocks me out of most people is being an asshole. Mm-hmm. Ben Shapiro's an asshole. Oh, yeah. Even if I agree with a lot of the things he says, takes me out of it. Bill O'Reilly could say 100% what I've said earlier politically, and I would, words, like if you typed them out, I'd agree. But the fact he's such a flaming fucking prick takes me out of it. And that even goes with the left. Like, there are people like Bill Maher. I agree probably a lot of politics with Bill Maher, but he's kind of a prick half the time, and that's, or more than half the time, and that's why I'm out, is I don't want my political commentators to just be these soldier assholes. Like, just tell me your opinion, and you don't have to be like, but these mindless idiots on the other side. Oh, fuck you. I'm over it. That quickly.
I'm going to take my Joe Rogan moment here and be an advocate for the left. All right. So, I think a big issue that we're going through in this country is an identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And let's have some Karl Marx in here.
You want to throw in, like, paprika into the soup right now?
I think the issue, though, is it's just Karl Marx even mentioned it about how our labor is being micro-divided into such little jobs that we used to find identity in our labor.
Yeah.
And then now that we've automated and divided it up so much, we've lost our identity in that. But our leisure time has been replaced by strictly false entertainment. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's like things like, there's people who do good stuff and like, or have a good time that doesn't just require sitting and clicking through a screen.
I mean, hey, I spend a lot of time on my phone. Yeah. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I watch a lot of... I got HBO now. I don't buy comic books anymore. How fucked up is that?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do a lot of that while I'm biking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't play Morrowind when I'm biking. I'm replaying Morrowind, by the way. It's amazing. It's so good. Billy has heard so much about it. But anyways, but yeah. So as much as I'm a tick on the tit of electronic entertainment, I still have to realize I'm a fat piece of shit. And on these few nice months we have in North Dakota, I gotta get on my bike.
Yeah, I'm not saying everyone's like a lazy slob or mindless like animal or whatever, but we take easy things, and like I even made a joke like people should really get into professional sports because I love professional sports. Yeah, I'm more football over than baseball, and I know you're into baseball. Yeah.
And you and Brandon Ross go to how many games a year?
I mean, we go to a few here and there.
By the way, I want to hang out with Brandon Ross more. Every time I talk to that guy, I fucking love him.
Yeah, he's good.
Just so you know. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I agree with you. I've been getting into football. The only reason I'm not into baseball is because I don't have somebody that be into baseball with me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the great thing about specifically Vikings. The reason I'm a Vikings fan is because I want to be able to go I want to be in a bar. There's a bar in Detroit Lakes that has 200 Vikings fans. It's only Vikings fans.
It doesn't matter who they are either.
Yeah, and it's just this huge, everyone's there for one thing, and we're all cheering for the same thing, and it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no Seahawks bar. And I would rather be a Seahawks fan because they're a better team, but I can't be because there's 3 Seahawks fans I know, and they're not going to hang out with me every single Sunday. And that sucks. So that also goes with baseball, but also baseball's a game a week or a game a day. Like they go boom, 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 not like Vikings or football. And yeah, so I got into sports strictly for that acceptance.
And camaraderie.
Yeah, in being part of that group, and it's great of being in a bar where everybody at least agrees with you on one thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, once you have a few naysayers and whatever, but like you get so caught in the camaraderie that like you don't care about the naysayers.
In being in a baseball stadium, I bet is that to the nth degree.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone there is completely in agreement with you on one side of the field, and that sounds amazing.
And like, see, I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, and I went to Target Field out here, and there was like, there's maybe like a fifth of the field was Boston Red Sox fans, the other 4/5 were Twins fans, but I found the 2 dudes wearing the Boston Red Sox closest to me, and we got along real well. And one of those dudes, like, I would probably never fucking ever talk to in my life.
He's like, I also like beating my wife and doing this and this. Yeah, but the Red Sox.
Yeah, it's just like, Dever just hit a home run, bud. Like, let's not talk about hitting your wife. Let's talk about hitting the baseball.
Yeah, well, that's a great thing about music too. Is if you go to a big concert, like if I go to a Wiener Primates concert and actually feeling so alienated for loving Wien as much as I do. When a crazy, weird, obscure song that they've only played on one LP comes up and I'm not the only one singing along, there's that special part of the brain that buzzes. Because you're like, holy shit, I'm not a freak.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
And see, the nice thing about, like, bigger things, like that mainstream things, is, like, I think we like, how we have a problem with micro-division and labor, I think we're also having a micro-division in recreational identity.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I'm a nerd, and it's just like, yeah, well, what kind of nerd are you? Like, oh, I like video games. And it's just like, oh yeah, well, I like Atari 2600 Ninja Golf only. Tell me everything about Atari 2600.
I'm so what's wrong with that because I don't consider myself a gamer and I play games all the time because I don't play the big mainstream games. I play Bethesda.
Yeah.
And I'm still playing Fallout 4. I am. I'm still playing Morrowind. God damn it, Morrowind came out in 2002. So when people are like, "Are you a gamer?" I'm like, I play like 10 hours of video games sometimes
At least
in a row.
half the time waiting for loading screen for Morrowind.
Yeah, it's better on PC. Fuck you.
Oh, okay.
It's way better on PC. Xbox was horrible.
Oh, yeah, that's how
I would
played
literally go take a shit and come back, and it wouldn't be done yet.
Yeah, that's
and
how I
it
played the
hasn't
game.
moved past. Yeah, that's how I originally played it. Now I got it on. I got a laptop that I call my Morrowind because that's all I do on that laptop. Yeah, my Morrowind laptop. But anyways, so that's exactly what you're saying with that micro division. Is I don't even have the identity of a gamer because I only play one software company.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I only play Bethesda Softworks.
Mm-hmm.
Or Softworks, yeah, not software. But yeah, I only play one video game company. So if I call myself a gamer, people are gonna be like, "What about the new Destiny game? What about Monster Hunters? What about blah 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 blah?"
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I don't play those games.
Yeah.
And that's that goes a lot. But at the same time, video games came mainstream to the point that we've had for 15 years of those video game jocks, of the people who are now doing it for the giant group, the people who play those FPSs, those people who play the big online games.
Mm-hmm.
That's a community now that isn't nerd. Those people are not nerds.
I'm not gonna try to bash nerd culture here, but
Yeah.
when I went to go see my family and I saw my nephew, he was watching someone on the Twitch screening or whatever.
Which I don't know,
Yeah.
over my head.
Yep, and playing the games, and then he likes, and my sister's like, "Oh, he likes Minecraft videos," and it's like, you know what? I bought a beta of Minecraft. I'm gonna give you my beta Minecraft account for Christmas. And then I gave it to him, and he's just like, "Oh, I don't play it. I just watch people play it." And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with kids? What is going on? He doesn't even play the fucking video games.
No,
he just watches people play them.
My nephew Cruz is a huge Fallout fan. Doesn't play it because he watches YouTube videos. Exactly what he said. He watches YouTube. So when I was playing it with him and I was trying to get him out of Sanctuary. Sorry, I'm trying to play it, and he's like, "Oh, I know how it ends." And I literally said the sentence like, "Not the same, you fucking idiot." Like, no, you can't watch people play the ending. Watch people play a new mod, but you can't learn storylines that way. That ruins it.
This is the way.
Okay, thank you.
This is the way humankind just needs to die out, because we're just making, we're just breaking down to the point where we got fucking people. They originally, making fun of the old hardcore dudes, making fun of people playing video games or role-playing games. Like, oh, you're just making believe. And now we got to the point where oh, you're just making believe people making believe.
You're just watching people making believe.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because there's a mechanic at my work, which makes sense of what side of the brain he uses, who gives me shit, and this is a big video game player, but more of the video game jock, plays games with everybody. He plays PUBG.
Oh, okay,
games like that. Yep. And they play Monster Hunter a lot, but Clash Royale, shit like that, which I played for.
Battle Royale games.
Yeah. So he gives me shit for all my knowledge of fake universes, and I know so much about the Star Wars universe, it's not even funny. I know so much about the Marvel universe, it's not even funny. The Game of Thrones universe, I haven't even read the fucking books, but I literally watched YouTube videos describing the lore to me of the books. I know most of the plot points that they didn't use in the show. And then all these different giant universes, there's so many good fictional universes out there, especially Elder Scrolls and all this stuff. And I have so much knowledge on it, and I'm not a good mechanic. Or I'm not a good this. I don't like driving my car. I don't really know a lot about a lot of things except for all these. And then he gives me so much shit because he calls that knowledge useless. I'm like, yeah, but what's... I wanted to explain to him, and he didn't get this. I was like, famous people might as well be Marvel characters. You're never going to meet your favorite baseball player. You're never going to meet your favorite football player. You're never going to meet Brad Pitt. You're just not. Brad Pitt might as well be Miles Morales. Because you're only going to see him when he's entertaining you.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's reading a fucking script too. Miles Morales is giving you words. Just so they're in the plane of reality doesn't really make them in your plane of existence. Because you'll never fucking meet Brad Pitt. I'm sorry, you won't. So I was trying to explain that to him, and he's like, whatever, you're an idiot. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Sorry, I went over your head, or maybe I am an idiot. But that was my point of I love my lore because I find it so interesting, And, American or world history I find super interesting too, and those might be useless information because it's not practical.
Yeah, no, that's I always joke because like I'm obsessed with the Spanish Civil War and just the Spanish Civil War.
It was a hell of a civil war, though.
Yeah, no, it's good. that was the setup for World War II, baby.
Yeah. It was like the proto. It was like, hey, we're gonna try fascist war out first.
Yeah. But it's just like someone will mention to me because it's just like I was just getting like joked about it at work because I listen to audiobooks while I'm working and I'll like have the earbuds in the case and I was literally fucking crying listening to this audiobook about the Spanish Civil War. It's like, what's up, Luke? And it's just like, they were in Barcelona and they tossed the flowers out to the leaving Americans, and it's just like, but then like the guy gets pissed because I don't want to talk about current politics. He's like, why do you have that useless knowledge of all that Spanish Civil War shit? And it's just like, Spanish Civil War 3.0 right now, buddy. Like, we're in it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and the funny thing about with how political everybody is right now, I don't consider myself that political. It's 50% of what I do, and I don't consider myself that political. I try not to watch any big mainstream shit. Like, I for the longest time didn't want to watch John Oliver because he leans left, and I don't like anyone leaning anywhere. But now John Oliver just so goddamn funny, and I just really hate the current administration regardless of what tie he fucking wears. Trump's a monster regardless of what side he's claiming to be, period. And so now I might be, watching more John Oliver, but I still watch it with that shade of, I know which side he's coming from.
Yeah.
The same with anything else. But and then, I'll watch like Philip DeFranco, who's amazing. I don't know if you watch Philly D, or do you know who Philip DeFranco is? He tells news straight up, and then he tells his opinion, and he says my opinion on this matter. So he's not filtering it through any side. Yeah. He's like, this is exactly what happened. I think it's shitty. Maybe you, and then he goes, what do you think?
This is my argument.
Yeah, and it's usually his opinions are very small. Yeah. Like, he's like, this is what happened, and then he's like, this is what I think. And then he goes, but I want to know what you think. I think that's exactly what all news should be. And it's fucking crazy that that's not a huge... There's like a couple thousand people on YouTube watching that.
Is how like news has evolved. Because like, it's still
so bad.
It's the same in the past, but it's just like this instant information, so we have to constantly keep pumping it so we keep the people going and like giving them new... And that's why I say I don't talk about current politics. It's like, I'll talk about like politics, but I really don't care what fucking Trump's wife wore on a plane.
No, I don't at all.
It's just like, yeah, okay, she wore something that was insulting.
Okay,
it's just like,
I think we're getting down to a couple minutes left, and I was going to touch on one more thing. Yeah, perfect. The second letter up? Okay. So, on social justice. Okay, you're familiar with the term, I'm assuming.
SJW.
I'm sure those letters have been screamed at you. If not, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But okay, so what you did with Pete Teft would be considered that. I'm assuming. Am I wrong on that sentence?
Maybe some people, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You wouldn't consider that social justice?
No.
What would you call it then?
Just I would, just direct action.
But so this is what my problems with the movement, which I have things I like about the movement, like what you did, is exactly what I like about the movement is calling out somebody who actually did something wrong, right? Somebody with actually political views that maybe I don't think we should blacklist them from stores, but we should know walking up to him like, oh, by the way, this guy just hates blacks and Jews. Just keep that in mind before you babysit or let him babysit your kids. Just keep that in mind before you.
Well, the big thing about that though is so we argue that the whole cake thing. My moral compass says that I can't sell I shouldn't sell you a cake. And it's like, well, why can't my moral compass say get the fuck out?
Well, that's the funny thing is I don't want to eat racist cake either, or prejudice cake. Is my biggest thing on that one is why the fuck do you want to go there?
Yeah.
And also. This is the other thing with that is I think they had the right to refuse the cake. Well, no, just like I think everyone should have the right not to fucking go there until they stop.
Yeah, but here's the issue too though is there's a really great video
like survival of the fittest of if we don't all go there because we're all boycotting it because they're horrible then they would fail.
If they're the only cake shop in town or whatever, there's still something
I guess.
to go. But then the big issue is you said, I can't remember who it was, but it's an interview with Jordan Peterson where they brought this up, and they brought up...
Was it Joe Rogan? Because you just had a talk with Jordan Peterson.
No.
I didn't watch that whole one because for some reason Jordan Peterson's voice makes me fall asleep.
He is the
I might have agreed with him. I just never listened to him talk, and I started watching the Joe Rogan one, and I was like... Oh wait, what?
But no, because they straight pointed out where like the same argument was used for blacks, religious freedom.
Way back in the day, yeah. And at the same time, then all the white people should stop going there because they're racist. That's my point. That I don't think that business should follow your rules. I think that business should fail. Period.
Yeah.
They're horrible people. Fuck them. Not like they're horrible people. They need to listen to our fingers. No, fuck those guys. Let them fail because they don't deserve to sell cakes because their cakes are racist. That's kind of my that's my point on it. But the
thing like where would we be right now? Like at least we're still not great at all with like racial justice at all. But it's just like if we didn't force, because that's the thing is like the country is pretty much like no blacks in here, and it's just like
horrible.
Yeah, where would we be if we didn't say that was wrong through our laws?
Yeah, I guess you're right. But again, you're talking to a guy who thinks there needs to be less laws.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. I know we don't have that much time, but here's a great...
We don't, but I want to make one more point. So when social justice is now getting into... Or not now, but when social justice... This is when I have a problem with it. Is when it gets into... when it directly interferes with me. But when it gets into intent. Mm-hmm. So this is now... We were talking about structuralism slightly earlier. Now it goes to intent of my words. Is I can say something that doesn't mean I actually mean it. It's a joke. Why am I saying it? Things like that. Mm-hmm. So things being taken out of context. There's multiple people I'm sure you actually know who will consider me a horrible person because I've made a rape joke in my past. I'm not a rapist. I've never raped anybody in my life. I don't even have consensual sex that much with my wife. I just don't. So, but those are jokes that are meant, my intent is for people to laugh. And as soon as people don't laugh or if I offend somebody, my first action is apologizing. Because the whole reason of the joke is to make you laugh. But if you're like, hey, dude, that's happened to me, I'm really offended, I'd be like, shit, I didn't know that, I'm sorry. But if then it goes on to a third party who wasn't even there, who's then like, Mark Gaviglio is a rapist because he makes rape jokes. Fuck him. And I'm like, you didn't even talk to me. Blah, 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 blah. So that's gonna be my biggest problem with the social justice is this idea of like, but somebody somewhere will be offended by that. So now, by proxy, I'm offended, and you shouldn't be saying it. And if you get what I'm saying, but it takes away, I feel like it's gonna like kill humor, and stand-ups everywhere cannot say anything facetious anymore. And I've heard a lot of vulgar jokes come out of your mouth that I love. I mean, you're the guy who farts and says nailed it. Maybe that offends people who have gastro problems. You know, and that's bowel syndrome. Yeah, sorry, I can't fart and nail it, so I'm offended by that. But yeah, you get my point on that. Is going to be I would dislike the SJW, but then at the same time, what you did, I understood.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the action.
Well, Pete Teft isn't joking when he says something racist. Yeah. I'm joking when I say something offensive.
Yeah, well, and then sometimes they use the joke as a cover-up. They're like, oh, it's for the lulz, shit like that.
Yeah. No, I don't get that. And that's a slippery slope because it's hard to actually know intent.
Yeah.
And then when somebody tries to tell you, but I'm full-heartedly saying this, then you don't know if you should believe them or not.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a recent thing with this. I went to the Walker Art Museum, and I saw this film that was supposed to talk about the violence against, like, African slaves. And they had a scene where one of them got raped. And right before the scene came up, which they had a big sign hanging outside, like, this contains graphics.
Yeah.
This, like, employee came up and tapped me in the shoulder, like, I just want to let you know that this next scene is going to contain sexual violence. That man is going to rape that woman. And then it's just like, okay, thank you. But then it's just like, it's kind of like, so you're watching Citizen Kane, and then he's like, Rosebud, like, it's his childhood sled. Like, just immediately.
Are you mad that somebody spoilered a rape scene for you?
Yeah, well, the whole point of that film was that rape scene. That was supposed to be like the whole turning point.
And it's supposed to be shocking because it just happens.
Yeah.
But he's so worried about people being offended that he has to now say it.
Yeah, well, an employee there.
Yeah,
Not the artist. I don't think the artist even put that out. Like, the artist didn't put it in their film credits at all, so I mean...
Yeah. Well, and then kind of back on art is, especially at art, I've always thought, and I'm never going to do this, but I think about, like, very violent sexual acts as being such a visceral, crazy thing to watch and to think about. And I've always wanted to do like a giant painting just of a heinous thing happening to somebody who's being tied up. And I know that it would be like, you like people being sexually tortured. And I'm like, no, I want you to think about how horrible sexually torture is. So that's what I did it. But yeah, so that's, that's back on can we explore it without condemning or condoning it? Mm-hmm. Can we explore the fact that horrible shit fucking happens? Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to make a video about whatever children being shot by AK-47s because that happens without saying it's okay that children got shot. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I feel like a lot of that social justice is going to kill the question, the conversation with it. We're talking too long, so give us a couple more minutes.
I think my final thing on it, like before we wrap up on that thing, would just be there's a point with shock that works and whatnot, and it's just what's the message behind the shock?
Yeah, so it's back to intent.
Yeah.
So you'd agree with me on intent? Is Pete Teff's intent is because he actually thinks these people are lesser?
Yeah.
If I make a racist joke right now, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I'm doing it for the shock, for the joke, and then we move on. Mm-hmm. And I make the same joke in front of my black friends because they know I'm not actually racist, and that's the point of the joke.
And I mean, like, that will come down to, like, context of the situation. Like, did you see that whole thing with E3 with, like, the Way of the Samurai or whatever?
Yep.
That dude's like, he's like the master of the flute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people got offended about it because they didn't know the context.
Yeah. I'm going to just cut us off and say good talk.
Good talk.
Good conversation, Luke. I hope 58 episodes later, if we're still doing this, I'd love to have you on again. It was a very good conversation, and this time we don't have to do all the foreplay of asking where you grew up. All right, well, we need to do sushi again. I like it because I get to eat all the fish and you just eat all the vegan stuff. Talk to you later. Scoop, skip, scoopity fly, flee, scoopity fly, flee, scoopity doo. And there you guys go. That was my talk with Luke Safely. It was a hell of a talk. I loved it. Loved every inch of that man, so that's why it was such a good talk. Like I said, it was probably not the most informative talk, but I think it was the most entertaining because he's such a great guy. Speaking of great guys, I'll be talking to Martin Beckman next week. That's going to be put out on July 22nd. Martin Beckman has a couple of shows on Radio Free Fargo. I think it's 2 shows. Also, he's kind of part of the local music scene. Got a lot of fun stuff to talk to him about, and he's just such a great guy. So that comes out next week. Until then, don't step on any nails, don't punch a whale in the face, and have a good one.
What'd you think? I liked it.
I want to hear